Hi, this is John Roco, and this is the third in the series. And as you can see, the title of this is "Are Criminal Activities ... question mark?" The question is whether or not criminal activities are being utilized by the Hawaii Democratic Party in order to try to write a narrative in order for them to win an election. Basically, write the type of story they would like to have of an individual so they could defeat them in an election. I'll just go over a few incidents that occurred. First, I'll go back several years ago. I was at my house, and I saw an individual pulling the bag of my neighbor, a very tall bag, a very tall green bag, across the front of my house in the street. And he was pulling so slowly, and I was extremely alarmed. I ran down, and the fella took off, and I immediately told my neighbor. As it turns out, my neighbor had been targeted, and I told him that this happened. At a certain point, he started suspecting me to a very large degree. So this was going on. Then at a certain point, this was summer of 2019. I was at Waikiki McDonald's, and I always wore about the same outfit. It was just easy because I work on cars a lot. And if you work on cars, you'll know that oil is black, and it ruins lots of different clothes. So if you're working on your car, the best thing to do is just wear black. If you get oil on your outfit, you don't ruin it. If I got oil on this, it would be ruined. If I got oil on something black, I could just wash it, but it just matches. So I would many times wear a black outfit, a black beanie hat, kind of like a golfing hat that sticks out a little bit, a black sweater, black pants, just black. It was just simple. I was in that Waikiki McDonald's, and I saw someone that was Filipino, darker than me, a little bit shorter, but dressed in the exact same outfit as me. And I was a little bit amazed. He walked up and he snickered at me. And then he sat down with three Japanese fellas. They were local, not from Japan. And they sat next to two Japanese girls that were not local, that were speaking with a Japanese type accent, Japanese with Japanese accent. And this fellow that was completely dressed like me grabbed the purse of one of these Japanese girls and ran out. And the two girls ran after them. And I was standing there in line, and I was completely concerned for these two girls. And so I ran out chasing too. And eventually these two Japanese girls were chasing these fellas. And I saw one of these fellas dressed in kind of like an army type of outfit, army jacket, kind of like the type that has kind of this camouflage, green kind of camouflage, and he was going kind of slowly. And I immediately tried to communicate with these Japanese girls that could not speak English very well. And eventually I said, "We need to call the police." And they called the police, 911, call the police. And so I called the police for them. The police came, and at a certain point, there was great annoyance at me from the Japanese fellows that were with this Filipino that was dressed like me. And they walked by me, and they were extremely annoyed. One at a time, two of them just looked me straight in the eye and just kept on walking by, just very annoyed with me. At a certain point, the individual that stole the purse was caught. I guess some credit cards were trying to be used at some location or something. And the police asked the Japanese girls if they wanted to press charges. The Japanese girls didn't want to do anything with it. And so that happened, and I communicated with the police. I was taking yoga instructor courses at the time. And that basically I was just helping these Japanese girls. And so that happened, and I was really happy I could help the Japanese girls, and they felt very secure that I helped them. It was pretty awesome that I could do that for them. But then afterwards, I started to consider, and I remembered back that fellow that was pulling that bag across the front of my house. He seemed to also be wearing a camouflage type outfit. And I thought back, and he was a skinny fellow, and he really could have been, I thought he really was the same fellow that was dressed like me. Something else happened. I had been playing piano at St. Francis Hospital. I'm a pianist, and it was really appreciated by the third floor. There are folks that live there that need care, whether they're disabled, whether they're elderly, difficult to get along, they need care. And there was great appreciation because I would play piano and it would reach the third floor. And every once in a while, they would even bring someone downstairs and just sit next to me and I'd play piano for this person. And it was greatly appreciated. One of the nuns that had prior been a CEO for the hospital was extremely appreciative of this work I was doing. It was beautiful. It was beautiful, actually. One day, that summer of 2019, I walked in there, and I always wore that same outfit, black. It was just easy because I tend to buy cars that need to be worked on. I like to work on, fix them, and then I eventually sell them. It was kind of fun. Growing up in a small town, Washington State, that's what you did. You worked on cars. There weren't computers very much back then. My dad had one of the first ones for his medical office. Anyhow, and so I walked in wearing my same outfit, and the security guard, the weekend security guard, there he is! You! And he took pictures of me. Get out of here! I had no idea what happened. But then I started to put one and one and one together. That individual at that Waikiki McDonald's was dressed like me, which was very simple to do. I walked into the St. Francis and I was dressed as I always had dressed. It was very simple for someone, just like in that Waikiki McDonald's, where someone grabbed the purse from Japanese girls, for someone to do mischief dressed like me, and someone would think it would be me. What I proceeded to do is spend about $3,000 on different outfits. So each day I would not wear the same. I'd wear all these different colored outfits so that someone could no longer just pose as me, as a Filipino person with the same cap, same black outfit. Never again, because of how this was done. And so I ask you, is there criminal activity being done in order to win an election and try to write a narrative, try to write a stereotype of an individual that is running for office? Is a stereotype being used? This is pretty deep, I think, because if that were the case, if criminal activity was being done so that a narrative could be written that doesn't exist, a narrative coming out of thin air, out of someone's idea, someone's mind, then it really is meaning that someone is, if this were the case, citizens of the state of Hawaii are being collateral damage for the sake of winning the most powerful office of this state. If that were the case, I ask you, what is going on? Is that what's happening? Criminal activity, collateral damage of citizens of Hawaii in order to win an election? If it is, it's pretty unethical. That's all I'll say. This is John Roco. Thanks. Okay, bye-bye.